Buying versus renting. People love to ask this question, and quite frankly, the answer that people give on YouTube pretty ridiculous. These YouTube videos make the argument sound smart as they go through complex calculation about whether renting or buying will save you more money based on national or global averages. But here's the problem with that. Real estate doesn't actually work on national averages. To answer this question, you have to look at the actual area that you're going to buy a house in. If you buy a house in a city that is losing population, then of course renting is a better option. And why? Because home values are either staying even or at times even decreasing. So the number one factor to consider is not the interest rate, not how much money you can make in the stock markets, not rent versus mortgage cost, but one statistic, plain and simple, is their population growth in that area. Or to put it another way, do people want to go there or leave? The answer for Dallas is unequivocally yes. Like we've mentioned in one of our other videos, the Dallas Metroplex is booming. So if you live anywhere in DFW, the choice is simple. The short term, you will definitely spend more money buying compared to renting. But within 5 years, you will have made all that money back in equity and then some. If you're watching this and you're not from Dallas, or you aren't planning on moving here, our recommendation is that you do the same. Don't look at the national or global trends and think, oh, the real estate has an average of 3% return, while stocks an average of 10% return. So stocks are better, and therefore I should rent and put all the money I save into stocks. It simply doesn't work like that. Know the real estate market you are in. Are people moving there? Are there people leaving? Are businesses moving there? Are there a lot of new developments? Is it getting a lot of attention on social media and the news outlet? If your answer is yes to all of these in your area, chances are you're missing a huge opportunity by not buying.
Now, once we have established that buying clearly helps to build wealth faster and more reliably than renting, we can actually look at the pros of renting. There are pros, but in most growing metropolitan areas, building wealth is clearly not one of them. There are, however, 4 primary benefits to renting over buying. First, if you're saving money for a down payment, or if you're getting yourself into a more financially healthy situation, renting is obviously the best choice for you. We are not licensed CPAs, so we cannot give you financial or investing advice. But general wisdom would definitely say, don't buy something that you can't afford. Even more, don't buy the max that you can afford. If you aren't financially ready to buy a home, make that a medium-term goal to motivate you to get financially fit. If you're wondering how to know if you're ready to buy a home or not, open this video of ours in another tab and watch it after this one. There are some alternatives to simply renting and saving. It may be more fun if you purchase a house together with some friends, or purchase a house and then rent out the other rooms you aren't using. This sacrifices some comfort, but 5 years of discomfort can lead to a life without financial worry. Second, maybe you're only going to be in that area for a few years, or you love a more flexible lifestyle and perhaps want to travel a lot. If that's you, renting may be a better option. Typically, your upfront costs are far less with renting. Simply 1 to 2 months rent deposit plus monthly rental payments, and you can live somewhere much cheaper than if you were to buy. This simplicity allows for flexibility. Millennials and Gen Z are much more concerned about unique present experiences and less concerned about the distant future. If this is you, renting may be better. Third, if you hate the idea of being a landlord, renting may be for you. The reason I say this is because if you move into a house and want to move a year later, you can still do that while buying. Simply buy the house, then rent it out to someone else when you leave. While this is a very popular strategy right now, because it's the single cheapest way to acquire a rental property, some people would either hate being a landlord or they have an ethical objection to it. So if you're someone like this, and also someone who prefers a flexible living arrangement, then renting is probably a better choice. Fourth, if managing something as big as a house stresses you out, buying a home may not be for you. As realtors, we can say one of our main jobs is to make you comfortable and well-informed homeowners. This is one of the reasons we make these videos. But if the idea of owning such a large asset is still overly stressful, renting is the better alternative.
Because we're on the topic, let's also mention the pros of buying, most of which we've mentioned already. You get appreciation because you own the asset. If your home in Dallas appreciates 10% in 1 year, you don't just get 10% of the down payment increase. The value of the home increases 10%. That means if you put 5% down payment on a house priced at $400,000, which is $20,000, but that year it appreciates 10%, you made $40K from your home's value increase. That means you netted $20,000 in 1 year just from buying a home. In fact, this is exactly what happened to a friend of mine who bought a house for $400,000 last year, and this year it is estimated at $475,000. The only way you beat those numbers is by starting your own highly successful business. Second, it's a hedge against inflation. Over the past few years, if you held your money in a bank, you would actually have gotten poorer. Why is this? Because inflation was higher than the returns you were getting on your money. Inflation capped at something crazy like 9%, while your savings account was giving you 3%. But as is common knowledge to everyone in the financial circles, hard assets like housing go up along with inflation. Simply put, buying a house is a better savings account than a bank because a house always outpaces inflation. Third, once you lock in a mortgage, it's locked in and it will not change. That's a nice thing to know. Rent will go up every year. Within 3 years, your rent will be higher than the mortgage you could have locked in at if you would have bought 3 years prior. And lastly, something not measurable on a spreadsheet. When you buy, there's a sense of ownership, like when you bought your first car, a sense of independence and freedom, like when you left home and went off to college. It's hard to describe the feeling of owning something like a house on a plot of land where you can make it into anything you want. This is what you sacrifice when you choose a more flexible lifestyle of renting.
We hate to go against the grain of the gurus of YouTube when we say this, but the choice is clear if you are in a growing metropolitan area. Buy if your concern is building wealth. Rent if your concern is carefree living. It's as simple as that. There are definitely outliers to such a statement, but most, if not all of these outliers will be people living outside major urban areas and the metroplexes. My fellow Dallas dwellers, it's an especially easy choice for you. If you got value out of this video, and if you appreciated an alternative perspective from the current mainstream echo chamber, please like, subscribe, and tell us your thoughts on the video. Also, if you're needing an agent in the Dallas area, we are always here to help. Our contact info is in the description below. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next one.